and today we're going to find out what a doctor thinks about 600-pound people, which I can tell you firsthand, they think lose weight. You're big as hell, your sugar is in the FU ranges, which means fat and way up, and Dr. Mike, I'm sure, is not going to be any different. He's going to say lose weight, it'll help you out in the long run. So we're going to figure out what the most eligible bachelor in New York or top hunk under 30, I don't know, he won some title like that, hunk under 30, something like that. I can remember being 600 pounds laying in bed and watching a YouTube video that was like, women want this doctor to use his beef syringe. And I was like, oh, for the love of God, that's the internet for you. But let's check out Dr. Mike and see what he thinks about 600-pound people.
We're gonna react to another episode of 600 Pound Life. Again, not a fan of the title, but at the end of the day, I think even with episodes like this, there are good takeaways that we can all learn from. Just watching her wake up in the morning, you could tell she's having a difficult time with mobility. And part of when we talk about helping patients lose weight is thinking about their quality of life. So yes, we want to decrease risks of cardiovascular disease, development of metabolic disorders like diabetes, but we also want to make them comfortable. We want to make them be able to enjoy their day-to-day lives. And as they
Gee, Mike, I really appreciate your worry about our comfort, but every 600-pound person is definitely a morning person. That's the first thing we do in the morning. Wake up, look at the sun, super happy, and Build Me Up Buttercup starts playing in our head, or Give Me a Buttercup, I guess. But that's Cynthia. Sadly, she passed away not too long ago, so RIP Cynthia. At least I think she did. I might be mixing her up with someone else. But yeah, not morning people. Mornings suck. You're 600 pounds, you wake up choking on your extra chin, and then you sit there, stare at the world, and go, why me? And the answer is usually Reese Cups. That's why, honestly.
get older, we want to make sure that they're able to keep their independence.
When I wake up in the morning, I start hurting because the pain is intense.
Remember, it's exponential. The amount of weight you're carrying in your abdomen is going to be exponentially higher on your hips, on your knees, on your ankles. The number one thing proven to help reduce osteoarthritic pain and other symptoms related to it is weight loss.
Hips don't lie. You're going to be hurting if you eat some extra fries. Oops, I think I accidentally skipped ahead a little. Jump back. Here we go.
It hurts. And it's hard to reach around my body.
It is hard, but it is very important because when you have excess adipose tissue, skin tissue, that's a place where bacteria can live, fungi can live, and therefore you can actually develop skin.
When you hear me talk about like the rashes you'll get or chub rub, that's what I'm talking about typically. And it has a special odor that you can smell from across a football field. It's gross, man. It's just, there's no way around it. When you're 600 pounds, this is pretty much inevitably going to happen to you. And keeping things dry is why it doesn't happen. It's impossible to not sweat and rub, and it's gross, I know.
Conditions that are not only dangerous, but also very uncomfortable and painful.
Once I get out the shower, my daughter comes in and she'll clean out the back of my legs because my arms are too short to reach.
Man, I forgot about the daughter playing whack-a-mole with your a-hole. That sucks. The poor daughter definitely does not deserve to have to take care of all this chub rub and keep it dry. But there was a special few people in my 600-pound life that decided their kids were good caregivers, which I think is awful, but it just happened. It happened on the show.
Mom, she tries to do everything. She tries not to be lazy. She tries to do a lot. But she can't.
It's important to not just clean the area, but also dry the area thoroughly because a moist environment, again, harbors bacteria and fungi.
Size was something that was seen as, you know, kind of a birthright in our family. We loved to eat. There was a kind of a running joke that if you were big, you were well.
Culturally,
So your family sat there and said, we're raising ogres? That was like what they were going for. But all right, yes, big. I'm actually in like, I don't know, the 13th century, way back in the day, okay? Like King Henry the Hefty, like, okay. They used to think the bigger you were, the more money you had. And because obviously you could afford to eat. So it was a thing. Women would search out the heavier men, which means I was born in the wrong generation. I should have been put me back. Actually, I 100% would have died in like a jousting with some kind of. I would have died in the dumbest ways back then. He tripped, fell on a jousting pole, something like that.
The eating is so important to people that discussing one's diet needs to be done in a very thoughtful and careful way. You never know what food means to somebody, what their daily meals with their family means to somebody. I've seen this happen in my clinic with those who are from the Latin American community and how important it is for them to have regular meals with their family that consist of rice, tortilla. Some of these foods, when eating in excess, can actually be harmful for the patient, especially when they have metabolic conditions like diabetes.
It is like a big cultural thing, which I've learned through the comments on here. A lot of people say, like, in their culture, it's just a thing to have family meals, to eat large amounts. Nobody's allowed to leave hungry. I have seen that a lot in the comments, but it's also the way he's talking about like nuance. You don't have to like wax on, wax off like Mr. Miyagi, every single morbid person that walks in there. Like if I walk in there, you can tell me, sir, you're fat as shit. Now I'm gonna be okay with it. Obviously, not everyone's gonna be okay with that. It's just you don't have to sugarcoat it for me. Like tell me I need to go on a diet. I don't need it sugarcoated, but a lot of people do. So I can appreciate a doctor that is able to do that, but I can also appreciate one that's blunt like Doctor Now and just keeps it 100% real with you.
I was gaining weight from a young age.
Sit-ups.
And by the time I was in middle school, I was already 250 pounds. Then I started having seizures. Every time I had a seizure, it was while I was watching TV or a movie.
I wonder if that has something to do with an epilepsy condition that is triggered by flashing lights, or perhaps sleep deprivation. In fact, when we have children that have had a seizure, they come into our inpatient service in the hospital where we actually put an EEG cap on where we monitor their brain waves, and we try to induce the seizure either through sleep deprivation, flashing lights. And when we do that, we are able to have the seizure occur in a safe, controlled medical setting, but then we're able to see what parts of the brain it's coming from, and we could actually then medicate the individual, get them in a place where they're seizure free and hopefully are going to be safe to go back home.
It's
When I was at the concert yesterday, they started like playing flashing lights, and I was like, "Oh, my first thought was somebody in the crowd's gonna have a friggin' seizure." So yeah, I do know flashing lights trigger them, but would it be more dangerous to have like a seizure when you are a bigger person? Because can't you choke on your tongue? No, maybe you're better at it because you're like a soft. Maybe it's just bigger. You've ate so much your mouth, like you can accommodate the tongue. I don't know, man. I'm thinking about this way too much. She had seizures.
28, there was a situation that occurred that I needed to take custody of 3 of my cousin's kids.
Oh, wow. That's awesome that she did that for her family.
I didn't want to give up on having children of my own. So I dated and got pregnant with my 2 youngest children. I was too big to weigh on the office scale, so I had to go to the freight scale. At that time, I was about 480, and I spent all my time focused on taking care of everybody else. And
There is a certain level of fat where they start outsourcing obesity to different scales. If you're getting outsourced, like it means you've reached a level of fat that health is not wealth for you, okay? You're in a bad way.
instead of myself.
And I know some people say, why were they even weighing her? That doesn't seem like it was sensitive. It's actually really important during pregnancy to monitor one's weight, to make sure that there's no fluid accumulation, that the baby is impacting the body in a certain way. Those who carry excess body weight to this degree not only have trouble with scales, they have trouble in our offices with stools. They have trouble fitting an MRI and CAT scan machines. So it's not an easy life by any means.
Yeah, because if you're 600 pounds and you're trying to sit on a stool, you might as well just grab a butt plug. I'm not one to like mince words. Like, I'll tell you how it is. Stools, we ain't going that way, Chief, okay? I'm not gonna sit on the stool and play punch the butthole with myself. I'm 600 pounds, okay? My thighs could eat the stool. That's just what happens.
Weight limits me so much. So I want to lose the weight. But when the cravings come, All I want to do is eat.
I'm sure this was filmed before the introduction of the GLP-1 medications like Ozempic and Wegovy. The reason why those medications have become so successful is because they work metabolically to some degree, but the biggest benefit that they give people is that it reduces cravings. It slows gastric emptying, so it slows the process of the food through the digestive system, making an individual feel full, therefore experiencing less cravings.
I'm not mad at you if you're on those medications. I say do whatever the hell you got to do, right? But when it comes to like people that have diabetes not being able to get it, which I've heard people say like it's hard for them to even find it at their pharmacy anymore because so many people are on it. I think that's where I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks for people that have diabetes. But I'm not mad at you if you're on it. If it works, it works. Like your doctor prescribes it, you're on it, good for you, you know? But a lot of people will argue do it the natural way, yada yada. I say do whatever effing way you got to. That's just what camp I'm from.
Being a teacher requires being on your feet all day. But when I get to work, I can't even make it in the building into my classroom without stopping. So I kind of map my route to where I know there are chairs that I can sit in.
Yeah, the fact that she's getting that shorter breath is concerning from a cardiovascular standpoint. Like, is her heart being able to keep up with the amount of body weight she has right now? For her own safety, you want to make sure that she's capable of walking around without posing a risk to her heart.
By the time
There's a special level of fat where you Google every single place you're going and make sure the chairs are wide enough. And then you pull up the satellite and you're like, how much can I, like, how far is it? So yeah, you do map out the route. And she's definitely done this before. But I wonder if she's teaching health class.
I get to my room, I'm so physically wiped out. And I'm starving. But I'm constantly around food. And if I run out, it's usually around lunchtime. I do look at the food in front of me and say, I don't need it, but it's good, so I just want to keep eating.
You know, people talk.
Oh, for the love of God. I forgot about her episode. She's got 2 pizzas here. She's got a cookie tray in the corner. She's really going to town at buffet or a classroom.
Talk about food addiction, whether it's real or not. If you're in a situation where you need food to this degree where you're overeating, you hate that you want the food, you know that your body doesn't need the food, it's presenting other health hazards to your life. Whether or not a medical textbook says it's an addiction, in layman's terms at least, it feels like an addiction.
Cynthia is over 600 pounds. And it's quite remarkable that she can take care of 5 children at that weight.
It just shows how motivated she is to take care of those children, because it's difficult on her breathing, it's difficult on her heart, on her joints, and yet she's still showing up day in and day out.
You're a mom.
Yep. Shout out to the moms out there that find a way to make it work. Even on days when you don't feel the best, you still have to do for your kids. But Cynthia, like I said, I really think she was the one that passed away not too long ago. So RIP, I feel so bad for your kids. I'm pretty sure it was her. I'm sorry. I might be misremembering.
Mom, and you have responsibility to your kids. So from this point on, we are going to make changes in your eating habit.
This is a very old school way of doctoring where you tell a patient that you have children, you need to do better for them, and you try and lecture a patient. But in most instances, the way that you get a patient to where they want to be is by asking them the questions and getting them to a place where they say, I need to do this for my kids. Just the fact that they vocalized it rather than you did will already go further in their success rate.
I understand where he's coming from, but like I said, I really like Blunt. And the reason people call it old school and this and that is because sometimes the old school stuff still works. So there's no reason to make it this like, oh, like I said, Mr. Miyagi the Fat, wax on, wax off Weight Watchers. Like, you don't have to always friggin' do that. Sometimes old school works. Dr. Now's ways obviously work. That man could scare the friggin' like pounds right off you.
You know how the homework goes. You need to stick with the low-carb diet and eat only 3 times a day and no snacking. This will be a 1,200 calorie a day diet.
I don't know how they expect her to go from eating what she's eating to a 1,200 calorie diet 3 times a day. I just feel like you're setting up a person for failure on that. She's gonna have massive cravings, especially with the difficulties of her job. It's gonna make her sad. It's gonna make her uncomfortable.
What is your ability?
100%. You're going to have cravings. You're also going from a crazy amount to a hell of a lot less. So let's not pretend it's going to be easy, but the only really answer to the cravings and like the hunger pain she's going to feel, in my opinion, chug water. Because when you're chugging water, there's less room there. You just, I don't know. You kind of do have to like Jedi mind trick your mind into not being so hungry all the friggin' time. She's definitely going to be hungry though. She's going to struggle a lot with that, but you're going to have to deal with it. Like, you just have to. I understand what he's saying, setting them up for failure, but I also understand Dr. Now saying you don't have time to play this game where you're just kind of like, does this work? Doesn't this work? Let's like slowly work your way down from 6 Twinkies to 2. Like, no, just cut them out. Do it hardcore, crash, like get rid of the weight. Like, I understand where Dr. Now is coming from more because he's definitely done it longer. I see what Dr. Mike's trying to say though.
To do exercise and walk.
And you want her to exercise and walk with 1,200 calories? I mean, it's just completely unreasonable.
I really don't do a lot of walking.
Or how much you can walk before you feel tired and give up.
Maybe like from here to your waiting room.
She should really be working with a nutritionist to figure out what she's already consuming and make changes from there, as opposed to getting a cookie cutter 1,200 calorie recommendation and telling her to exercise when she's never exercised before. It's just gonna be a major shock to the system. I think even the most well-intentioned patient is gonna struggle with that.
If we
Dr. Mike, easier to tell you what we're not eating, but also, yeah, there to the waiting room, huffing, puffing, that would have been me too. So she's not wrong on that one. Dr. Mike, I don't know. I think he's like giving it this like wait and do it slowly, do it. Oh, Latanya's the one that passed. It's not her. I don't know. I'm way off right now.
If we stick with this diet,
Okay.
you should be able to lose 30 pounds in 1 month. And if you can make these changes, weight loss surgery could be an option for you down the road.
Okay.
I get why they're trying to get her to lose 5% of her body fat to make sure that once the surgery is complete that there will be a level of success. But doing it in the way that he prescribed it, it just doesn't seem like you're setting up someone for success. And also, he didn't tell her what to eat, didn't give any recommendations as far as macronutrients. Look, I get you don't want to confuse and overload a patient, but like, encourage protein intake. Those foods that she's eating are ultra processed in that they're gonna make her not feel full. They're gonna make her want to overeat. But if you just make recommendations about the types of foods to consume, that's gonna make it easier for her to stick to some sort of plan.
But you're also preaching to a 600-pound person where if you say you need to take in more protein, their brain might go, ooh, I get to have meat lovers pizza tonight. So it doesn't always work if you were to try to preach. A lot of times learn trial and error is kind of what ends up happening. At least that's what happened for me. A lot of times on the show, that seems to be what happens too. But yeah, you could preach all you want. Doctor Now saying 1,200 low carb kind of narrows it down so much. That's why I think his diet works, because he's not giving you all these extra options and this and that. So you can't like, what do I have to have for dinner? Like, oh, I'm having a chicken breast and some broccoli. Like, I know what I can have on his diet. So Dr. Now's way works, I think, because of that.
Kaya has been offering to take walks with me and help me stay on track.
Yeah, social workouts go a long way in helping people stay consistent. When you have another person that goes to the gym with you or goes with you to do some sort of physical activity, the odds are that one of you wants to skip and then the other one encourages the other one to go. So you're kind of doubling your chances of getting a workout in.
You're making good progress, and I think you're gonna be a good candidate for weight loss surgery, okay? But you still have a BMI close to 100. So I'm gonna send you to the hospital so we can run some tests on you, make sure you're safe for anesthesia. If all those tests are good, I'll approve you for surgery.
I hate that he says it as if like he needs to approve. We'll send you to the hospital for some special tests to make sure it's safe for you to go for the surgery. Not for me to decide if it's safe. You're not deciding. The tests are deciding whether or not it's safe for the patient. It's in their best interest. It's not you gatekeeping it.
But I also think Dr. Now puts it that way because a lot of surgeons are not willing to operate on people this big. So in a way, like, yes, your body has to be healthy enough, but he also has to approve and be willing to put you under the knife. So because if your breathing were to stop, it's going to be on like Dr. Now's conscience. I don't think he wants to do that. I think he wants to see if their body's good enough to move forward and also see like, hey, is this worth the risk? Am I going to give them a better life? I think that's why Dr. Now puts it that way. I don't think it's him gatekeeping in any way.
The surgery will help to prevent her from turning to food. But if she doesn't deal with some of her deeper issues, it's only a matter of time before she turns back to it.
I wonder what the rates of bariatric surgery are going to be now that we have these GLP-1 medications, with a newer generation of GLP-1 medications coming out soon.
It's been a week since my surgery. I was discharged yesterday, and I'm recovering in the hotel. Right now, I've lost all cravings for food.
How's your mindset now? I mean, you got the surgery finally.
I think my feelings are numb because I've been through so much.
Yeah, at that point, it's hard to know long-term prognosis. So it's hard to know what it'll be like 2 weeks from then.
Today is your...
I'm not sure. I mean, yes, cravings are gone. The whole numb feeling, I don't know. I think you should feel like relieved, exasperated, anything. You should be thinking like, this is the start of the rest of my life. You should be on like cloud 9 at this point. Or she could be like that because she hasn't had the food she wanted in a while. Maybe she didn't have her little like morbid Mayday parade meal before the end. Like she didn't have Last Supper or anything like that.
10 days after surgery, huh?
Yep,
All right, how's everything coming along?
great.
How is your pain and discomfort?
Don't have any.
Wow, look at that change in just a few days.
You have lost 100 pounds so far.
That's
Do you feel
exciting.
Any different?
I do.
But I'm arranging for you to start seeing a therapist in Oklahoma City.
I like that.
Because I wanted to start discussing some things with them so you can be successful in the long term.
Usually we do that before the surgery as well. I wonder if this is just outdated. Wow, that's a huge weight loss.
This has been a hard couple of months, so I'm trying to keep my mind off of food as much as possible. I've been going out to exercise and stay motivated.
See, that's the tricky thing about overeating and overconsumption of food. When someone's like, hey, quit cigarettes or quit alcohol because they're bad for you, a person can say, okay, I'm never gonna touch that again. But food, you have to consume no matter what. But overconsumption can become a problem. It's like, imagine how difficult it is if everyone that had an alcohol addiction, instead of trying to get them to quit completely, we had to get them to a place where they would only have a few drinks. See how complicated that would be?
I'll just
Yeah, that's like I do agree with that. It's what makes it one of the hardest things to figure out if you've gotten that big. It's like, okay, you can't just tell somebody, like say you got a blow problem, right? Get you some healthy nose candy. Like, no, it just doesn't work like that. It's like the booger sugar is going to be bad either way you look at it, okay? There isn't a healthier version of it, but there is a healthier version of food. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you're telling somebody to go from eating all these sugar loaded, like savory, like down to something that's gonna be like, this isn't as much fun as eating 2 large pizzas and cookies like she was in the classroom.
decided to stop trying to live up to everyone's expectations of me, including Dr. Nails. I appreciate all the help he's given me, but I've decided if he's pushing me for therapy, I don't need to see him right now. I'm working as hard as I can, and I thought the surgery would fix everything, but it didn't.
When it comes to surgeries, they rarely heal everything. They can get you a jump start, especially when it comes to bariatric surgery. It's still gonna take a lot of work, even with GLP-1 medications. If you wanna get in good shape, you still have to exercise, you still have to watch what you're eating, change the amount of protein you're consuming, otherwise you'd lose muscle as much as you are fat. So it's not an easy road just because there is something to help you.
He was pushing you for therapy because the mental aspect of overeating to a point of 600 pounds is what's the difficult thing to get over. Everybody wants to talk about like the body, the fat, the weight loss. This is the real problem up here. And the devil's advocate lives up here. So every bad thing you've ever said about yourself is up here, and it's probably coming out on the plate. But that's why, and her saying, I don't want to go anymore because of that is pretty crazy. I remember her episode a little bit, but yep, that's what a doctor thinks. So I understand where Dr. Mike is coming from. A lot of his like newer age stuff isn't quite Dr. Now. It's like old school, don't beat around the bush. Let's get the big people to like lose weight right now. Dr. Now's way has worked though, historically. His show is thriving. and people are losing weight on his program, but people also lose weight different ways. I don't think there's a right way. You just have to do it, right? So that's my opinion. Let me know yours. That's the great thing about the internet. Leave a like, leave a comment, and yeah, that's about it. See y'all later. Bye.